What the heck is up, you guys? It's your boy Ace, aka Animated Heroes here, back with another action figure review. Today we're going to take a trip back to memory lane and look at a figure of a character that was around when the MCU was still good. It is none other than Medicom Toys' latest release, Captain America the Winter Soldier, Captain America Classic Suit, or Medicom number 220. This is one that I am extremely excited for, so let's go ahead and get right into it, starting off with the sexy packaging. Now, this is a figure from the Infinity Saga. As you can see, it is written right here along the side. You got the big window where you can see the figure as well as some of the accessories looking great. You've got him right here in his suit looking forward. That is such a dope image, man. I truly believe that Medicom Toy is the best when it comes to capturing Chris Evans' likeness, and we'll take a look at that when we get into the figure. But it does say Captain America Winter Soldier at the bottom, action figure, Mafex, Medicom Toy, the Avengers logo right there in the bottom right. Nothing much going on up here. Nothing much going on at the bottom. On the side, we've got him kind of in an attack pose right there. And then we've got a full body image of him right here, standing proud, holding the shield. This just looks so cool, man. And then on the back, you've got so many poses you can get this figure into, man. And this just sells me alone. And he actually comes with the Rock. We'll discuss that later. But yeah, this alone sells me, man. Now let's go ahead and bust this guy out of the packaging so we can see what this figure is all about. Now, every single time I get my hands on an MCU figure from the older movies, it always reminds me of what a time to be alive it was when we were rushing to the theaters to see these after deactivating all of our social media because we didn't want to get spoiled. Me not being that big of a Marvel fan, that alone made it special to me because I still didn't want to get spoiled. And, man. It's just, those were the good times, man. Long before we were watching She-Hulk twerking and all of that, which I could have lived my whole life without ever seeing. But anyway, on to the figure itself. You guys, I don't know if you've ever heard me say this, but I don't know what it is. Every single time I get my hands on a Medicom Toy Captain America figure, I get really excited because I usually always enjoy them, despite the fact that they are sometimes not necessarily plagued with issues, but they do have more than one or two. Now, it seems like they fixed some of those with this figure. I'm sure one or two of them might still be there. Of course, we'll see as we dive further into the figure. But yeah, I don't know what it is lately, guys. I've been on my Captain America vibes. I've even been playing with Captain America skins in Fortnite, yo. So I'm definitely going to have some fun with this figure. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a closer look at it so we can examine some of the details. Taking a closer look at this guy, this figure is jacked, you guys. Like, this easily feels like the most beefy Captain America figure we've gotten from Medicom Toy thus far. Now, since I don't have anything to compare it to, sadly, I won't be able to show that. I do wish I still had my in-game Captain America. I think I'm going to have to go back and get that. But I don't know. This figure just feels so much bigger than the others, and it is loaded with sculpt and detail, which Medicom Toy is usually known for doing anyway, but I feel like they absolutely knocked it out of the park with this guy. It is also the most muted Captain America figure we've gotten in terms of colors. As you can see that the blues on the chest, the reds, and all of that, they don't really have much saturation to them. They are almost like faded colors versus the helmets, the gloves, and the boots. These are a bit more saturated, which it kind of separates everything. It makes the figure more appealing to the eyes. And speaking of eyes, let's talk about the head sculpt here. This looks phenomenal, yo. It looks like Chris Evans in a Captain America suit. They are really killing it with these, man. And the 3D printing on this is so nice. It looks very realistic, man. The mouth, the nose, everything about this looks so good. And then again, all the detail you get with this figure. It could have used some black wash just to give it some shading, but for the most part, it is a very, very clean figure, man. It's just so much going on here, and I absolutely love it. All the straps, the belts, the gloves, the buckles, the painted silvers, this figure is just very nice, man. This is one that I might end up holding on to this guy, not gonna lie. I really did love the Winter Soldier movie, and so that's gonna make me enjoy it that much more. I might have to go back and get the Winter Soldier too, but yeah, overall, man, this is just a very clean figure. Like this is easily some of Medicom Toys' best work, and it feels like I say that a lot when it comes to them, but it is true. This is top-notch action figure production. Now, when it comes to this figure, he is pretty dang tall. In fact, to the top of his head, he's almost 7 inches. He's a little bit over 6.5, which is fine by me because I like taller Captain America figures anyway. Now, when it comes to the size comparisons a little bit later, I don't have any other MCU figures from Medicom Toy. I usually don't keep these just because I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but I will show him next to some Legends and some random other stuff that I have beside me. Articulation wise, he looks up about that much, which is good, but of course you're going to get that gapping in there. So it really only helps whenever you get him in those kind of superhero landing-ish poses or flying in landing poses, because as we know, Captain America, he can jump out of a freaking plane or whatever. But yeah, so that's when that is going to work. Otherwise, again, you're going to get that gapping in there. He looks down just as well, man. That is freaking good. Really good tilt, turn, all of that. And if you remember, the older Captain America figures had issues with the shoulders, and I believe it was almost like this same design for his other costumes, but the only difference was they made them into separate pieces, and so when you tried to lift the arms, you couldn't really get them to pose without having to adjust the shoulders. When it comes to this figure, it's somewhat of a problem just because they can only go out that much. But again, you don't have to worry about those shoulder plates getting in the way. So T-poses are fine. If you want to get them going any higher, you just got to rotate the arms around, which I am perfectly okay with. When it comes to bringing his arms in, the butterfly joints come in about that much, which is fine by me. He does have a shoulder swivel, sadly no bicep swivel, and I think that's why they had the shoulders as a separate piece so they could put that cut in there for the actual bicep swivel. I don't remember, I could be wrong on that, it's a guess, but yeah, that's what I would imagine. Anyway, when it comes to the elbows, they are single jointed, but you can bend them all the way in. You just got to pull that piece down whenever you do it so you don't get that weird gap in there. So yeah, there that is. And they move in just fine. You can get him to pose with his hands behind his head, all Steve Rogers relax, whatever you want to do. So that's great. No swivel right here at the forearm like I thought, but he does have a swivel at the elbow, which is weird though. It's not going to look good. And then I just realized something. Be careful rubbing this white against this brown because you will get paint on there. Thankfully that rubbed right off, but I'm glad it happened so I can show you guys. Hands are on a hinge and they move around well enough. Actually, it just fell to the floor and I'm not going to pick that up. I wish this pegged on because that seems like that's going to come off way easier than I would like. So yeah, that's one small issue I have. Anyway, moving on to the diaphragm. You guys see it. That's good, yo. He leans back about that much. You're going to get the gapping. He leans forward about that much. He does have rocker. You don't get much more out of the waist, sadly, but you get a whole lot more going backwards, just not forward. He does turn at the waist. Be careful with that. It feels very stiff. But not as bad as some of their older figures. Belt is a floating piece, so it's not going to get in the way much. The legs somewhat drop down. He only kicks out about that much. I really wish he kicked a little higher than that. He does the splits about that much. Definitely wish he did the splits a little bit more too, because that's not going to help with those kicking poses. The knees are single jointed. Definitely not the best, but they function. I do wish they would have done that a little bit better, but it is what it is. He does not have a swivel at the lower calf, but he does have a swivel at the knee because of the joint, but that's still useless because it doesn't look right when you do that. So yeah, foot goes down about that much, up about that much. He does have ankle rocker, a little bit better than the older figure, still not the best. And then he does have a toe hinge. So articulation wise, he is limited in certain areas. You're going to be able to get him in most of the poses you want, but the kicking poses is where it's lackluster. Now, when it comes to accessories, you actually get quite a few with this guy, but sadly, some of them still have the same problematic aspects that the older Captain America releases had, and most of that is in regards to the shield. Now, first off, he comes with a neutral head sculpt and a pair of fist hands right out of the packaging. He comes with a pair of shield holding hands. He comes with a pair of shield throwing hands, or like he's getting ready to throw it. He comes with a pair of relaxed hands, and then he comes with another pair of relaxed hands. And actually, he comes with another set of hands. I just almost missed these. He comes with a pair of pointing fingers. So that's cool. He comes with quite a few hands. He also comes with 4 different straps for the shield. You have these, and then they're going to look exactly identical to the next ones I'm about to show. But then you also have these, because he does come with 2 different shields. First off, you get the original, which is a little bit battle damage. Look how this looks in the light, yo. This is really good. That looks really good. And then he does come with the more basic shield as well, which I don't think anyone's going to be using this one for anything other than display purposes. And speaking of display, it is meant to be displayed on this rock right here, as you guys see. So glad that they threw that in. He comes with these extra pieces right here that I don't like, man. One of these, I believe, is meant to help display it on the back. You have to put on the extra. I'm gonna go ahead and show it, even though I hate doing this. So basically what you do is you slide this in here, and then you find the strap that goes to it. Hopefully this is the right one. It actually has something on there. I can't see what it says, but we're gonna see. I don't think that's the right one. I think it's this other one. Let's see. I don't know. You do just like this, basically. You plug that in there, and then you slide this piece in there, and then you just peg it onto the back after you pull out the current peg and put this one on. I'm not about to try all that on camera. I tried to give it to you guys, and it didn't work. But that right there lets you guys know exactly how unnecessary it is. Anyway, he does come with 2 other head sculpts. He comes with this kind of teeth-gritted, angry, more aggressive looking head sculpt. And then he comes with an even angrier unmasked head sculpt, where he's more blonde this time versus the brunette hair, which is accurate to the movie. And then lastly, he comes with this helmet where he is not wearing it. So tons and tons of accessories. Still not the best delivery for some of it, but it's still cool to get a bunch of stuff. And since I did fail to do it in the last segment, I figured I owed you guys the showcase of how to put the shield on. So basically what you do is you plug the right section into here, or the right strap into the shield, and then you put this little piece right there in the middle, and then you got to line it up right, and you do just like this. And because this is horrible, it doesn't want to go, but that's basically how you peg that in there. It's a stupid design. Again, I wanted to show you guys that, but that's how it works. Moving on to size comparisons, here he is standing next to some Marvel Legends. First off, we have him next to the Marvel Legends Black Panther. This is actually him from Civil War. I thought that this was my Infinity War version when I grabbed it, but I picked up the wrong one. We also have him standing next to a Marvel Legends Everett Ross. Sorry that he's leaning. Hasbro sucks when it comes to doing the feet for certain figures, so this was the only way I could get him to stand. And then we also have him standing next to a Marvel Legends MCU series Moon Knight, which I would have loved for these two to come in contact with one another. I'd want to see what that interaction was like. Next up, we have him standing next to a Marvel Legends Black Panther 2 Namor. We also have him standing next to a Marvel Legends PS4/PS5 Miles Morales. And then we also have him standing next to a Black Panther Okoye. Last but not least, for some random extras that are not so random, here we have him standing next to an SH Figure Arts new red and blue Spider-Man. We do have the Unparalleled Universe Odious figure, and then we have him standing next to a Jazzwares, I believe, Skull Trooper, and it's only because Captain America is in Fortnite, so I had to throw this in there. Now, when it comes to my final thoughts on this figure, I'll be honest with you guys. At the most, it is meh. And the reason I say that, because I know someone's going to ask, because they were like, oh, you were so excited at the beginning of the review. Yes, I was excited because I absolutely love getting my hands on Medicom toy MCU Captain America figures. But the only problem is this figure doesn't do anything better than any of the previous figures we've gotten from them. Now, what I mean by that, I'm going to explain. The paint, the sculpt, the detail, the accessories are all great. There's nothing wrong with them. But the problem is that we've already seen that Medicom toy can give us great Captain America sculpts. We've already seen that they can give us figures that are loaded with detail, especially this, being that this is the 4th Captain America, I believe, we've gotten from them. The shield is obviously just reuse, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the body is the same thing, just a tad bit retooled. So, only way I think that they could have really improved, maybe throwing in some extra effect pieces, of course, but also they gotta fix the articulation issues, yo. Like the knees, definitely not the best. The arms, I'm gonna say, are better than the previous releases because you don't have the shoulder pads getting in the way. But now the legs really can't pose. He can't really get in any kicking poses that look great. The elbows, not the best looking, but they work. There's no bicep swivel. It comes from the shoulder, which again, if you pose it up right, that's not necessarily going to be a problem until you have him posed up with other figures. And there's certain poses you want to get that just aren't going to look right because of the way that the articulation was implemented. So it's a meh figure. I'm not saying that it's bad. It's definitely worth adding to your collection, but it isn't anything that we haven't already gotten from Medicom Toy. Everything about this figure is something that we have seen before in either this Captain America figure, the one before, or after that. So that being said, that's my review. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. That always helps me out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure to hit that bell icon so you're notified whenever I upload new content. And last but not least, follow me on everything you see listed in the description below to keep up with my activity outside of YouTube. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Stay safe wherever you are, and bye.